All right, so you want to get into the world of music production and sound engineering.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to know like what you're getting yourself into, like the good and the bad.
Yeah.
Well, okay, we're going to break it all down in this article we found called Pros and Cons of Doing Music Production and Sound Engineering.
Oh, very cool.
And trust me, it gets pretty real.
It's fascinating how we kind of like lump those two together, right? Like music production and sound engineering.
Yeah.
But they're quite different, actually.
Yeah, so what actually like separates them?
So music production is more about the overall creative vision of a track.
Okay.
So like the arrangement, writing the song, coaching the vocalist, and, making sure that track has that special something to make it stand out.
Right.
And sound engineering is more about the technical side of things.
Right.
So it's like the science and art of capturing and manipulating balancing sound to achieve, a specific effect.
So if like the music producer is kind of like the director of a film,
Yes.
the sound engineer is like the cinematographer.
Yes. Yes.
Like
Exactly.
they're the ones who actually capture the sound and make sure it sounds amazing.
Exactly. A great sound engineer can take a good track and make it incredible.
Wow.
They know how to use all the fancy equipment and software to get the perfect sound.
Right.
They're also the ones who mix and master the track,
Okay.
making sure that it sounds, polished and professional.
Gotcha. So why would someone want to pursue these careers?
Yeah.
What is it about this field that's so alluring?
Well, first off, there's a ton of opportunity out there.
Okay.
The demand for skilled music producers and sound engineers is growing not just in music, but in film,
Right.
television, video games.
Yeah.
Even things like podcasts and audiobooks need music producers and sound engineers.
So it's not just like working on the next big hit song.
Right.
It could be like soundtracks for movies or like the sound effects for my favorite video game.
Absolutely. And the earning potential is pretty impressive, too.
Okay.
Top music producers can earn six-figure salaries for a single project. And experienced sound engineers can command, very high hourly rates for their expertise.
6 figures for one project.
Yes.
That's motivation.
Yeah.
What about the lifestyle? What is it like to work in these fields?
Well, one of the biggest perks is the flexibility.
Okay.
You often get to set your own hours and work on projects that really excite you. It's
Yeah.
not your typical 9-to-5 job.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I can see how that would be a big draw for like someone who values freedom and creativity.
Yeah.
But let's be real, it can't all be sunshine and roses, right?
Yeah.
What are some of the maybe less glamorous aspects of these careers?
The work can be very demanding. Long hours, tight deadlines.
Yeah.
You might find yourself spending late nights in the studio working on, multiple projects at once.
Right.
It definitely takes dedication and a strong work ethic.
So not a job for the faint of heart.
Right.
What about the work itself? What are some of the challenges you might face like on a day-to-day basis?
One of the biggest challenges is the constant need to learn and adapt. Technology's constantly evolving, new software and techniques are emerging all the time.
Yeah.
You need to stay on top of your game and be willing to embrace new tools and workflows.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a fast-paced industry. You can't afford to get complacent.
No.
What else?
Well, another challenge is dealing with the pressure.
Okay.
You're often working with very creative personalities,
Right.
and there can be a lot of conflicting opinions and visions.
Uh-huh.
You need strong communication and interpersonal skills to navigate those situations effectively.
Okay, so you got to be technically skilled, adaptable, good communicator.
Yes.
You need to be like a superhero to thrive in these fields.
Maybe not a superhero,
Uh-huh.
but you definitely need a very well-rounded skill set.
Okay.
And even then, there's no guarantee of success.
Hey.
The music industry is notoriously competitive,
Right.
and there's always more aspiring producers and engineers than there are jobs.
So stability isn't really a given in these careers.
Unfortunately, no. Especially when you're first starting out, finding steady work can be tough. Yeah.
Income can fluctuate, and you might have to juggle multiple projects or gigs to make ends meet.
Right. But I imagine that the passion for the work helps to fuel that drive and determination to keep going.
Absolutely.
Oh.
And that's where the article gets really interesting.
Okay.
It highlights the importance of diversifying your skill set
Okay.
and exploring different career paths within these fields. There's so much more to it than just working in a recording studio.
Now you've got my attention. I'm dying to hear about these alternative career paths.
Well, hold on tight, because we're going to uncover a whole world of possibilities.
Yeah.
Let's explore those different roles and industries in the next part of our deep dive.
All right. You left me hanging. Spill the beans. What are some of these alternative career paths that you mentioned?
Okay, so get this. You could be designing soundscapes for video games.
Wow.
You could be mixing audio for like blockbuster films,
Yeah.
or even engineering the sound for like a live Broadway show.
Oh, the skills that you develop in music production and sound engineering are surprisingly transferable.
So instead of just like working with musicians in a studio, I could be collaborating with filmmakers, game developers, even theater directors.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's so cool. And within those industries, there's a whole spectrum of roles to consider.
Okay.
You mentioned wanting to understand different job titles, right?
Yes, please. I'm curious.
Okay, so imagine this. You're the sound producer.
Okay.
You're the person who shapes the sonic identity of a film or a video game.
Wow.
You're working closely with the director, choosing music,
Right.
creating sound effects, and making sure the audio perfectly complements the visuals.
That sounds like a dream job for someone who's both like creative and technically minded.
Yes.
What other roles are there?
Well, if you're like a master of organization and love keeping things running smoothly, you might enjoy being a studio manager.
Oh.
You'd be responsible for scheduling sessions, managing budgets, making sure that the studio is a well-oiled machine. Or if you're more hands-on and love being in the thick of the action, you could be a production assistant,
Okay.
helping with everything from setting up equipment to running errands.
Like a well choreographed dance, like everyone's playing their part
Mm-hmm.
to create this amazing thing. Are there any other roles that might surprise people?
Absolutely. There's a growing need for acoustic consultants
Okay.
who use their knowledge of sound to design spaces that sound incredible.
Okay.
Think like concert halls, recording studios, even classrooms.
Wow.
They make sure that the sound is clear, balanced, and free of any unwanted echoes.
So you could be an architect of sound.
Exactly.
That's fascinating.
Mm.
What about the digital world? Are there roles that combine sound with technology?
Definitely. We have multimedia developers who create immersive digital experiences,
Okay.
weaving together sound, visuals, and interactivity.
Okay.
Think online games, virtual reality experiences, even educational software.
Oh, cool.
Oh.
So if you're tech savvy and love pushing those creative boundaries, that could be a really exciting path to explore.
Yes.
This is really making me realize how vast and dynamic this field is.
Mm-hmm.
But let's get practical.
Okay.
If I'm intrigued by these different roles, what are the essential skills I need to land those dream jobs?
Well, the article really emphasized that practical experience is key.
Okay.
You know, it's one thing to learn the theory,
Right.
but you need to get your hands dirty, experiment, and develop your own unique style.
It's like learning to play an instrument.
Yes.
You can read all the books in the world, but you won't truly master it until you actually pick it up and start playing.
Exactly.
So how do you gain that practical experience?
Thankfully, we live in a time where online resources are abundant.
Right.
You can find tutorials, courses, even entire degree programs online. Platforms like YouTube, Coursera, and Udemy offer incredible learning opportunities for aspiring music producers and sound engineers.
So it's like having a virtual mentor at your fingertips.
Yes.
But even with all those resources available, it can still feel overwhelming. Is there a specific skill set that every aspiring music producer or sound engineer should focus on developing?
The article actually provided a really helpful list
Okay.
of essential skills. And it goes beyond just the technical stuff.
Right.
Of course, you need a solid understanding of music theory and sound principles,
Okay.
but you also need that creative spark, the ability to think outside the box and come up with fresh ideas.
So it's not just knowing how to use the equipment.
Right.
It's having that artistic vision, that intuition for what sounds good.
Exactly.
Gotcha. And then there's like the technical side, mastering software like Pro Tools.
Yes. Pro Tools is crucial.
Okay.
That software is the industry standard for audio editing and mixing.
Okay.
You'll also need to be familiar with a range of audio equipment,
Right.
from microphones and preamps to mixing consoles and speakers.
It sounds like learning a whole new language.
It is.
But I can see why it would be so rewarding once you've mastered those tools. What else?
Well, strong project management skills are crucial. Staying organized, meeting deadlines, keeping clients happy.
Right.
Post-production skills are essential for polishing and refining that final product.
Okay.
And strong communication skills are key for collaborating effectively with clients and other creative professionals.
So it's really a holistic skill set
Yes.
that combines technical prowess, artistic vision, and those all-important people skills.
Yes,
It's impressive how much goes into it.
it is.
But of all the skills mentioned, is there one that you find particularly intriguing?
You know, the one that really stood out to me was scripting knowledge.
Scripting knowledge?
It might seem unexpected,
Yeah.
but with the rise of interactive media and game audio, being able to write code to manipulate sound is becoming increasingly valuable.
Okay, I never really realized how important that skill is becoming.
Yeah.
Can you give me an example of how scripting is used in sound design?
Sure. So let's say you're designing the sound for a video game.
Yeah.
Scripting allows you to create dynamic audio that responds to the player's
Oh,
actions.
cool.
So, for example, the intensity of the music might increase as the player gets closer to an enemy,
Okay.
or the sound of footsteps might change depending on the surface the player is walking on.
Wow, that's incredible. It's like you're bringing the sound to life, making it
Hmm.
interactive and responsive. I can see how that would take the gaming experience to a whole new level.
Exactly. And that's just one example. Scripting is used in all sorts of creative ways in sound design.
This is really opening my eyes to a whole world of possibilities.
Good.
But I know we're not quite done yet.
We're not.
There's still more to explore in part 3.
That's right. We've covered the roles, the industries, the skills, but there's one more crucial element we need to address.
Okay.
The blend of technical expertise and artistic vision.
Okay.
Let's delve into that in the final part of our deep dive.
Right. So we've talked about the roles, the schools, the industries. There's a lot to consider.
Yeah.
But you mentioned one more crucial element, like this blend of technical expertise and artistic vision. What did you mean by that?
You can have all the technical skills in the world. You could be a master of Pro Tools,
Yeah.
know every knob on a mixing console, but if you don't have that creative spark, that artistic intuition, your work might end up sounding technically perfect but emotionally flat.
Right. It's not enough to just be a tech whiz. You need to have that artistic sensibility, like that feel for what makes a sound truly captivating.
Exactly. It's like a chef who knows all the cooking techniques,
Okay.
but lacks the palate to create a truly delicious dish.
Right.
They might be able to follow a recipe perfectly,
Yeah.
but the food will lack that special something that makes it memorable.
That's a great analogy.
Uh-huh.
So how do you develop that artistic vision? Is it something you're born with, or can it be cultivated?
That's a great question, and the article kind of touches on this through the idea of musical aptitude.
Okay.
It's that innate ability to hear the nuances of sound, to understand how melody, harmony, and rhythm work together to create an emotional response.
Right.
Some people naturally have a stronger aptitude for music, but it's definitely something you can develop over time through practice and exposure to different styles of music.
So even if I don't consider myself a musical genius, I can still train my ear and develop those artistic sensibilities.
Absolutely. It's about actively listening to music, paying attention to the details,
Yeah.
and learning to identify what makes a particular sound or song effective.
Okay.
You can also experiment with creating your own music, even if it's just simple melodies or rhythms.
Yeah.
The more you play with sound, the more you'll develop your own unique voice and style.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's encouraging to know that it's not just about talent, it's about dedication and a willingness to experiment and learn.
Exactly. And that's where the magic happens when technical skill meets artistic vision. It's like a dance between your left brain and your right brain logic and intuition working together to create something truly special.
This has been such an eye-opening deep dive.
Yeah.
We've gone from understanding the basic differences between music production and sound engineering to exploring this vast array of career paths, and even delving into the philosophical side of balancing technical expertise with artistic vision.
Yeah.
I feel like I've gained a whole new appreciation for the work that goes into creating the soundscapes we experience every day.
I'm glad to hear that. It's been a fascinating journey for me too. And, it all boils down to this music and sound have the power to move us, to connect us, to tell stories without words.
Yeah.
And the people who work in these fields, whether they're producers, engineers, or sound designers, they're the ones who wield that power. They're the architects of our sonic experiences.
That's beautifully put. It's a reminder that it's not just about the technical skills or the fancy equipment, it's about the human connection, the emotions that sound can evoke. And I think that's a perfect note to end on. We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
We have.
But ultimately, it's up to you to decide if this path is right for you.
Indeed. If you're passionate about sound and have that creative spark, then don't be afraid to dive in and explore. You never know where your sonic journey might take you.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive. We hope you've enjoyed this exploration of the world of music production and sound engineering. Remember, stay curious.